is so cringe. It's actually insane that you're just spewing this right now.
I know. I hate myself so much.
I can't believe it.
There's a car driving by. That's really loud. So I had a dream last night, actually. I wonder if this has ever happened to you. I had a dream last night that I was farting really, really loudly. And I still don't know if it was a dream or if it was real. But Ludwig didn't say anything to me this morning.
Why don't you ask him?
I don't know. I'm scared. It's one of those things you don't want to know the answer to.
That's fair. No, that's never happened to me.
Oh, cool.
I've had dreams where I'm yelling and then I'm yelling when I wake up. But those are, my therapist says those are night terrors.
Oh, I don't have those. I'm just farting.
That's surprising, honestly.
No, I get sleep paralysis. I don't get night terrors.
I've never had that.
Sleep paralysis?
Yeah.
It's fucked. Why did you just yell? Are you mad?
I don't know. That's why did you hear me peek there?
Yeah.
Ah!
Stop.
Ah!
No one likes it.
Everyone's mad. I'm testing. Audio listeners, I'm testing my audio. Hello?
Audio listeners?
Hello?
I have to put my foot in my mouth and then bite it because I was wrong.
About what?
About girl code, boy code. Girl code, guy code. I was wrong.
What do you mean you were
I was
wrong?
simply wrong. About the whole cheating thing. Everyone in the comments were like, turns out you just got guys in your life.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. I was like, this is not a boy-girl thing. This is a human thing.
I believe the people, and the people were all like, yeah, you just tell the person. So all the boyies, I hate that there's like girlies, but there's no boyies. All the boyos, all the penises out there.
I was gonna say Peter Pipers.
All the Peter Pipers out there, all the Peter penises that told me no, not to tell the girl. You guys are bad friends and people and humans. So
cringe lords.
You know who you are. Welcome to Whine About It.
Yikes! Welcome to Whine About It. Whine About It. We're back.
Anyway, I'm wearing a low cut top today, but I promise you won't see my nipples because they are taped up. They're taped up.
That's huge.
Yeah, I just get nervous, and so that was more of a reassurance thing to myself.
We are recording the Patreon episode after this, though.
Huge bonus episode. The tea is coming out. I'm talking about it all. That was a good cliffhanger. But speaking of Patreon, if you're on the Patreon, you already know that we're drinking Nobilo this week. Is that how you say that?
Nobilo 2022 New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc.
Marlboro. Oh, the cigarette wine.
Yummy.
Nice.
No, it's spelled differently.
Oh. With 300 years of family winemaking tradition, each bottle of Nobilo is a promise of New Zealand winemaking at its finest. What does that mean?
Can you turn your gain back up a little bit?
Turn it back up a little bit.
Audio listeners,
turned it down.
We're fixing the audio for you.
Is it fixed? Is it back up?
Saved. Yeah.
Okay. Our Sauvignon Blanc has a distinct notes of fresh melon and citrus, a perfect match for your favorite salad, seafood, and poultry dish.
I hate melon.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a good gasp. Also, we have to stop saying we hate wine.
Why?
Number one, because people are complaining about it. They're like, for the 17th time, they said they hate wine. And also because the easiest sponsor to get for a wine podcast is wine, and all we do is talk about how much we hate it. So that's not good for the sponsors.
Okay, we like it.
We like it. A lot, actually.
A lot.
I went to a book club yesterday, and I only had one drink. One.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That's big.
Yeah, I had absinthe in it, though, so I don't know.
Oh my god, I've never had that. Does that actually do crazy things?
No, not in America. I can't open it. I can't open it. Wait for me, please.
Wait, this one...
I'm scared.
Okay, this is not even because you just said that about wine. It actually smells kind of nice.
Oh my gosh, this smells like perfume. I love it so much. I think I've changed my opinion on wine today. I woke up this morning and I thought to myself, oh, I like wine.
It smells like grapes.
Does it smells like bubbles. Like grape flavored bubbles that you blow in the summer. No?
I didn't know they had flavored ones.
Okay.
Audio listeners, I'm ASMRing.
That was
Audio
good.
listeners, I'm gonna get drunk. That was a lot.
Oh, my cup is dirty. It looks like it has a nipple on it.
What?
Why?
It's like a water stain?
It's a water stain that's perfectly shaped like a nipple. The camera
Ew.
won't even pick it up. Do you think someone rubbed their nipple on this?
No, probably not.
Keep talking about nipples so much. I had a bit of nipple dysmorphia as a child.
Really?
Yeah.
We've never talked about that. You've never told me that.
Really?
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because one time my brothers were watching WWE and they had these cage matches or something like that. Yeah, that's where it starts. And they were doing a cage match. It's really dirty. I'm really trying to clean it out. Don't drink your wine yet. I'll be really sad and left out. Anyway, I don't know what was happening, but there were two girls in a match and they were ripping each other's shirts off. But, you know, like old TVs were kind of blurry, plus we were poor, so it was like extra blurry. Anyway, this girl rips her shirt off and then her nipples aren't gone. There's no nipples. Turns out it was the blur because it's on TV. So her nipples are blurred out, but I just thought she had no nipples. And so I was confused why I had nipples as a girl.
That's tragic, actually.
Thanks.
Sure thing. Are you oh, I thought you were drinking it. I was pissed.
I'm trying to figure out what to wipe it out with, but I don't have anything besides my skirt and Swift.
Just use your skirt. Definitely don't use Swift.
1 second.
Guys, I'm gonna get drunk.
Okay.
Her ASMR sucked, admit it.
Well,
mine was good.
Dealing with a lot right now.
Same.
Mine is bubbly. Cheers. Is yours bubbly?
No. Yes.
Oh. There's a million bubbles in it. Oh, sorry. Oh, cheers. Oh.
Kind of.
Audio listeners, she fell. Oh,
like
it's
vinegar.
so good. Oh.
Tastes like vinegar. It tastes like pickled grapes.
Oh, why'd you have to say that?
Because it does.
It does taste like pickled grapes. I would drink it again, though.
Oh, okay. It's crazy.
I have a hope that after a little bit, it will stop tasting like pickled grapes. It is very sour.
It's so sour.
Ah! Oh.
It's so sour. It tastes like a really bad mandarin. Like
I think it'd be really good mixed with Fanta.
That's gross.
Really?
I don't think you should.
Did I ever tell you the first time that I ever drank a beer?
I saw it came up on my For You page on TikTok. You mixed like beer and Coke.
Diet Coke.
Dude, that's foul. When I was in college, I used to put 2 shots of lemon vodka in a big cup of water.
That seems more normal.
Lemon water. It's hydrating.
Do you want to hear me romanticize my groomer?
Not really.
Yeah, romantic, beautiful relationship. So what had happened was, I don't know if you ever told, this is the guy I lost my virginity to. Dad, if you're listening, plug your ears. Imagine my dad listens to this.
Please.
I would kill myself, and I can say that on YouTube. That's right, Dad. You better exit out now.
Yeah, or else.
But shout out to Brooke's mom. You can listen.
Yay!
Like I love Brooke's mom. She listens.
Anyway,
Anyway, so I was 16. I get a job at Old Navy, as one does.
This guy. I hate this guy.
This guy's great. We loved him. His name was... I want like a hot boy name. Harry Styles. His name was Harry Styles.
Harry Styles is not hot.
Okay, that's an argument for another day. I was 16 and he was 26. He was like the manager of the Old Navy, except for not the real manager. He was like the edgy
26.
He was the pricing specialist. If anyone knows Old Navy terms, he was the pricing specialist. And, you know, he would invite me over sometimes and ask me about boys.
How old is Wantep?
Wantep is 16.
He's 16. For reference, Wantep is 16. I'm 24. So that would be, Wantep stays the same age. I would be 2 years older than I am. Thank you. Continue.
And you're inviting him over to watch movies on snowy nights.
Yeah.
And to see his band on the weekends. So he would do that. He would invite me over to see movies on snowy nights and his band on the weekends. And he'd ask me about boys in high school that I had a crush on and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And I remember I had a crush at one point on this kid that was like known for jerking. like teach me how to jerk.
No.
Teach me how to jerk.
Yeah.
He was like the best jerker in school. And it was so
It really
hot.
sounds so bad.
Yeah, it sounds really gross.
It sounds worse than...
When I told the 26-year-old as a 16-year-old that I was liked a guy who jerked, he was like, oh, like jerking off, because he didn't know it, like teach me how to jerk.
Right.
You know,
because he was too old.
Yeah. Actually, was I 16? I might have been 50. I actually don't know how old I was. Anyway, regardless.
Yeah,
I was young. I was young. He was old. Anyway, so he'd invite me over. And then soon enough, you know, years go by. I turn 18. And then he starts like asking me to hang out more. And now he's 28.
Right. Sure.
It's so weird because I've told this story multiple times. And I had an epiphany last time I kind of talked about losing my virginity on I talked about it on Fear and I was talking on Fear and I was like, I didn't lose my virginity until 21. I don't think that's right. I think I've simply forgotten. I think I've like lost years of my life because of trauma. I think I lost it at 18.
You don't remember the first time?
I know when it was. I don't know what year it was. So people have to remember that there are years of my life that are completely erased because like a lot of times you can like trace back photos, right? You can be like, oh yeah, I was dating that guy in 2012 or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I can't do that because what I had was a pink digital camera and I would take all these pictures, go home, upload them on my mom's computer. Because I didn't have a laptop. Upload on my mom's computer, upload on my mom's computer. Eventually I get my own laptop. I move out. I am living my life. I never think I need to get these things off my mom's computer. My mom dies, very selfish. And now and then my stepdad threw everything away. So I'm just missing years of my life. I couldn't show you pictures of 3 of the boyfriends I've ever dated. I have none because they were all on that computer. Like I have no proof I even dated these people. Like I only have one picture with my mother. And she was my mom for 25 years.
You're
like,
old as hell. I've had iPhones.
Relax.
I've had iPhones. I had my iPhone since not since my first my first serious boyfriend when I was 15, I think.
No, I was also poor. I wasn't just like old.
Oh.
So I didn't have an iPhone until I was like old. I didn't have an iPhone in high school.
She is.
Yeah, you're making me feel way old now, but I'm not that old.
Sorry.
I'm 25 again. We were similar.
Same.
Anyway, what am I even talking about? Oh, long story short, am I talking too much? Do you hate me? Be honest.
No, you're fine. I talked too much the last podcast.
Did you? I rewatched it actually to see how we were doing. And we were rusty. We were rusty, and you can admit it. Yeah. You don't have to admit it, but people in the comments, you can admit it. We were a little rusty. Because I kept going.
Pretty happy.
Did we even start a timer today? Do you have a timer?
We started at like 50.
Okay, I'm going to set a timer for an hour from now so I know. Because the problem is I didn't know the time we were at. And I kept going anyways to like fill time when normally we just have like really long conversations.
I think you're being too critical. I think it was fine.
But I'm good at being critical.
That is true. Will you romanticize your groomer already?
Yes. It was so. Anyway, Harry Styles, he was he was 28 and I was 18. I think this is when I was 18. I literally would need to find
This is the guy with all
journal.
the tattoos, right?
Yeah, tattoo guy.
Okay.
I would need to find my journal to figure out exactly when I lost my virginity. It was somewhere between 18 and 21. I've lost years of my life. I don't know. And anyway, so he starts inviting me over and I'm like, okay. And by then I got promoted at Old Navy. I was the pricing specialist now. And he was like an assistant store manager somewhere, blah, blah, blah. I graduate high school. I get like, when was this? I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what year this was. This might have been the year after high school because I took some summers off Anyway, regardless, at one point we stopped talking, but then I go back to Old Navy, and I am now a training manager, and he's an assistant store manager, and he gets transferred to my store to be the store manager. And it's like, oh, this is spicy. Harry Styles is my store manager, even though he's 10 years older than me, and he's kept in contact with me all this time and like check in randomly. And but now I'm 18 or 19. I'm an adult, and so he starts inviting me over more. And oh my god, dude. I remember he had this tattoo that was like, it just said unwanted. And I'd always be like, but you're so wanted. Like, what are you talking about? Like, everybody loves you.
Actually throw up.
I know. And so he starts inviting me over, and we start like watching movies together and building forts and baking cupcakes together. And he had all these friends.
Forts to that's crazy.
I know. I wish I remembered if I was 18 or what age I was. Regardless, he's 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
And so that's when I first started. So the first time I found out he was cheating on me is the first time I went to a house party that some of my friends were at, and I cracked open a Miller Lite and I drank it, and it was yucky.
Wait, so you drank it straight?
That time I like tried it.
Respect.
I didn't get drunk. Yeah. I just tried it, and I was like, this is gross. And then they were like, now they've tried that. Do you want to try weed? And I was like, yeah. And then I tried weed, and I totally faked that I was high, because that's what you do when you're cringe.
Fair enough.
And so anyway, then he invites me over, again, because I go crawling back, even though he cheated on me. And I hadn't had sex with him yet, mind you. But he's like, he opens a beer, and I go, no. I want one too.
Yeah.
And it was like Heineken's, and so they were like nicer. And I was like, but mix mine with Coke, because I thought that was like fancy to like mix drinks with Coke, because like whiskey and Coke. And I knew I hated the taste of it from like that first one I took a sip of. So I was like, mix it with Coke. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's so good. Just like pretending, like, I don't know why, because he knew I hadn't drank before this. So it's like, I don't know.
How was it?
So bad. I don't recommend it.
Did you drink it?
Oh yeah. Oh, I faked like I
all
loved
of it.
Yeah, I was a cool girl. Yeah. And then he would like the next few nights he'd have it like prepped for me. And I remember we would watch that movie, because this was also during the time that I was like, I randomly become obsessed with things. Like, right now I'm obsessed with like the Playboy Mansion. And beads. And like, I am obsessed with beads, but like historically, like I'll read a bunch of books on like a certain figure. So like I've read every book on the Playboy Mansion recently.
Yes.
But at this period of my life, I was obsessed with Marilyn Monroe. And so I'd read every book, and we're like watching Marilyn Monroe documentaries together. Oh, this is so cringe. And I'd be like, you're just like Marilyn, because like everyone loved her, and she would just leave them, like everybody loved him, because like all these girls just loved him, and he always made me feel so special that he was giving me like a minute of his time,
Yeah.
And so I'd always like compare him to Marilyn, and he would always,
cutie, no one's like, it's like there's a gun to your head and you're telling us all these things. These are so cringe. Like I know. It's actually insane that you're just spewing this right now.
I know. I hate myself so much.
I can't believe it. This is actually a great segment. Let's do the cringe. Yeah. Go ahead.
I thought about this recently, and that's why. Well, and remember that pink journal that we read?
Yeah.
What we need to find, I have a brown journal, and that was the Harry Styles, my manager at Old Navy journal.
That would be fascinating to go over with your therapist.
Good content is what I was going to say.
It'd be great content.
I have no idea where it is.
I don't think I was groomed, but you tell me.
Oh.
Comments. You tell me. This is a new segment. I've told you about my math teacher in high school.
No.
Okay, so I had this math teacher in high school. He's great. And I was dating, my boyfriend was a year older, so I was a junior now, and my boyfriend went to college because he was a senior and he graduated. And so then I was all alone, and I didn't have any friends. So that's not true. I had some friends, but like not enough.
Her old friends, if you're listening right now, you can call her a bitch for that one.
That's fine. There's literally only one, and she already gets it. So I would go into his classroom at lunch, and I would eat lunch in his classroom, and like he would.
Oh my god! Also, you were like Juno.
Huh?
Did you ever watch Juno?
No.
Oh God, you've got to watch Juno.
Okay, I don't know what that is. But also note, the reason I was not supposed to be in this math class, it was an AP calculus class. I hate math, you know this. Like, I hate numbers, I hate calc. I would never do that to myself. He came up to me in the hallway, and he was like, you can do this. And I was like, I didn't even know him. You know, he taught my sister, and he was like, you're smart, you need to be in this class. And I was like...
Maybe he's just racist.
Okay, that's a possibility. But I was like, you've never taught me, so why would you know that? He went to my math teacher, like my current one, the regular math class, and was like, she needs to be in AP Calc, and transferred me into his class. And so then I was in his class, and I would eat lunch in his classroom. I drove my truck, my F-150, I still drive, and he would bike to school. And so at lunch, he was like, my bike will fit in the back of your truck. So he would put his bike in the back of my truck, and then we would go out to lunch at lunch, and he would buy lunch. He would buy food. Like, we would put his bike in the truck, and he would go buy food.
How
and
old
go
was
back.
he?
More than 40, less than 55.
Oh, was he hot?
No.
Did it feel like an uncle or a dad, or what did it feel like?
No, it felt like my friend.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, and then he also told me that he always told me that I should model. Red flag.
No,
he told me that
nice.
I should be a singer because I have the looks for it. Red flag.
Oh.
And then he got fired from school for sexual misconduct with a student after I'd graduated. So that's also a red flag.
I don't think that's a groomer. I think that's a pedophile.
Ah, shit. Wait, is it the same thing?
No.
I think it could be the same. I think they could be both.
Oh my God, that's like double whammy.
Anyway, when he got fired from school and they were like, sexual misconduct, like, you gotta go, he messaged me on Facebook and asked me to testify. He was like, you need to tell everyone that I'm not like this. Remember, we were friends and like everything was fine and I never did anything to you. And then I really thought about it and I was like, you know what?
You're like, was I not hot enough?
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? That's really actually really messed up of you. And I got really jealous. So I said, no. No, I genuinely thought about it and I was like, you know what? I actually don't think I can testify for this because it was a little creepy now that I'm an adult.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Little did he know.
Yeah. So I said no.
I don't think groomer. I think pedophile. I think groomer means they like groom you until you're legal. But I don't know. It's either that or it means that they like comb animals' hair out. Those are the two definitions I think of groomer.
I think grooming is the process. I think pedophile is the noun.
Whoa.
Oh God.
Oh God. Well, I mean, anyway, back to my romantic night with my groomer. So we would watch Marilyn Monroe documentaries under the pillow fort, and then I loved The Wizard of Oz, and so we'd. What
was your first kiss? How did he kiss you first for first time?
I don't know if I remember that. We need that brown journal. I think that brown journal would really unlock all the memories from about.
I don't know if you want that.
18 to 22.
I don't think you should find the journal.
Yeah, it's fair. That's also when I had the abusive boyfriend. So.
Yeah, don't find it.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't need it. But I think that's part of why I forgot everything, which is kind of sad. But it's fine. She's fine. But also he would like play, fast car on the guitar and be like, "You got a fast car," but he was actually really good. Yeah. And then he would he learned Half of Your Heart by John Mayer and Taylor Swift, and we would sing it together. And the crazy thing is he would call me his Taylor, and he would always talk about how he's just like John Mayer.
Why are you admitting these things, dude? Oh my God.
And this is a time in my life where I like tried to look like Taylor Swift. Like I would like, do my hair like her. It's not like tried, but like I just liked her style and would copy it.
But
anyway, then this nipple dysmorphia comes back into play. I am gonna get naked with him. I hope no one in my family ever watches this.
Why? Why?
Because I want to be a hot girl and invite him over to take a bath.
Is this where you did the ribbons?
No, that was in high school.
No, that's for another day.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Continue.
another day. And so
you invited him over to bathe with you.
Yeah, because I was in a 2-bedroom
Naked.
apartment with my stepbrother. Me and my stepbrother had a 2-bedroom. My stepbrother's gay and he was great, but he was a horrible roommate because he just always had grinder dates coming over, like literally every day. There was a different guy coming over. It was insane.
Okay.
But regardless, that was not a slut shame. It was just getting a little impressive. But anyway. So I want to invite him over for a bath. I want to be a hot girl. So I get a bunch of candles, which is crazy because I didn't have a nice tub. It was like a very small tub. Yeah. And I realized that I've never like seen a real naked person. I've only seen like porn. Yeah. And I don't know if my nipples or vagina are normal.
Sure.
I just don't know. So I call my 2 friends over. We'll call them Sarah and Clara. I call Sarah and Clara over, and I'm like, guys, I need to see your boobs.
How old are you?
I don't know. I was
17?
I was somewhere between 18 and 21.
Okay.
The lost years. I was
Why
in the
didn't you
lost
just
years.
Google images? Why'd you have to do that to them?
Well, no, they were very supportive.
Okay.
They were coming over to help me prep. They helped me put the candles up, and maybe this is why I don't have girlfriends anymore. Maybe I'm
It is
the
a
problem.
lot. If you asked me to do that, I would probably like actually hit you.
No, because it wasn't like that. I was like, we got everything ready, and they're like, "Are you nervous?" Because I thought I was losing my virginity that night. I thought we were gonna take a tub,
Right, in the bath.
You know?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Okay,
Sorry.
I don't, it's in the lost years. Give me a break.
Okay.
And I was like, guys, I don't know if what I have is normal. And they were like, show us. And I was like, no, I'm nervous. And then they were like, well, this is what I have. And I was like, oh, my nipple looks like your nipple. And then I showed them my nipple.
I see. Okay, so you feel fine about it.
Yeah, so my nipples are actually like super fine.
Okay, good.
But that was the story. But then he came over. We took a tub together. That's when I learned that penises like float.
Yeah.
They're kind of funny in a
yeah.
Audio listeners, my hand is moving up and down like a penis floating in a tub.
Yeah,
Bloop.
it's very phallic.
Bloop.
The motion.
It's funny. It just floats to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
So
is there air
that
in
when
it?
you lost your virginity?
No.
Oh.
Then I think he cheated on me again. And then this was a big one. Then I was like, I'm going to show him that I can hang like the other girls. And so I go to his house. We watch Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix and, Johnny Cash and June. And I lost my virginity to that movie.
We have an alpaca named Johnny Cash at the farm at home.
That's nice.
Yeah. Okay, so how was it? Scary.
It hurt.
Bad.
It was scary.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Really
And then
bad.
he fell asleep. And then the next day I left. And then he never talked to me ever again. Well, that's a lie. Because fast forward 5 years, I'm in a healthy relationship. And then he reaches out to me.
Okay. And
says,
how'd that go?
And the Wildest Dreams song was really popular by Taylor Swift. And he said, whenever I hear this song, I think of you. Which is all about like tangled up with you all night. Da, 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 da. Like, I'll never forget that girl, essentially.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so that was interesting. And I said, really? Because this song reminds me of you. And then I sent him Dear
didn't.
John.
Why are you so cringe? And
'Cause
why are you
I
admitting
hate myself.
all of it?
I'm
That's
sorry.
crazy. That I actually am trying. I'm racking my brain trying to think of something that can like equate to that much cringe, and I'm sure it exists. But
Maya, you are being a bad friend.
Why?
This is my safe space podcast where I can talk about these things.
I just said, did you not just hear me say it? I'm trying to think of something so I can get on your level.
Yeah, you said that after you said you're fucking cringe as hell.
Yeah, I did.
Breathe
But
the
I'm
same air as me.
Okay, I didn't say that, and it wouldn't matter
Felt like
because we're not in the same place.
You already broke up with me.
Oh my god, here we go again.
Uh,
Okay. Cringe things.
Anyway,
Man.
I think our first kiss was probably during like a Marilyn Monroe documentary under the pillow fort, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I don't remember. My first kiss with that guy, specifically.
I have a cringe first kiss story. I don't think I've told. There was a guy that I dated in high school, and it's really sad because we were really close friends, but I never liked him. But I knew that he liked me, so then he wanted to date, and so I said okay.
And then he said yes because you don't know how to, yeah.
And we made this, like, it felt like a big deal that I was going to be his first kiss, even though I didn't want to kiss him and I knew I was going to break up with him. But I wanted to make it really special because it was his first one, and I cared about him. I just didn't like him. This makes me sound insane. This is like probably really scaring people.
It does sound really awful, but I also did the same exact thing in high school.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one night we were laying out on his trampoline outside, and I kissed him under the stars on his trampoline, and it was very nice. And then I broke up with him on my birthday.
Why on your birthday?
Shortly after, because he was going to give me a present, and I didn't want to take it and then break up with him.
Did he still give you a present?
No, I did it before he gave it to me.
Dang it. I wonder what it was.
I don't know.
Could have been good.
Probably something really sweet because he was really nice.
Yeah, sad. I wonder where he is now. Have you checked in on him?
I think he's like in the church.
Oh, huge. Congrats to him.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's very nice. Always has been.
My situation was similar. This is sad, but the boy I did have a crush on didn't have a crush on me, and instead his friend had a crush on me, and he was like, you should date him. And then I was like, yes, boy I have a crush on. So then I dated his friend, thinking that I was pleasing the boy I had a crush on.
Oh, ouch.
I know. So
Owie.
dumb. I've had self-worth issues my whole life. I'll figure it out one day.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and so then I dated him, and when I tried to break up with him, he started crying, so I took it back. I said, never mind.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, that was sad.
I've done that.
So bad. But I think that's kind of normal. But anyway, how was your weekend?
I don't even know what I did this weekend. Oh, it's one of those. I did go to a house party, which I don't go to house parties anymore. I have not gone to one since October.
I'm going to put my jacket on. It's getting really cold out here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I haven't been to a house party since like September, I think. I don't go to house parties anymore because it's full of streamers. So I like to keep my distance, but it was for someone's birthday who's a friend, and so I felt bad. So I went to show face and to be nice, because he's a friend. And it sucked ass.
Who was it?
That's all. This is the editor, the guy that used to edit for Point Crow.
Oh, I don't know him.
Yeah, he's nice. But now we're gonna talk about boys. You look ready.
Oh. Do you think the lighting out here makes me look old?
No. That jacket does though.
Oh.
But it's okay. It looks cozy.
It is really cozy. I also brought myself. Don't you miss being with me? I brought chocolate.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, no, the house party sucked. There's nothing really interesting about it. Will Neff was there. He picked me up. Austin was there. He said that my boyfriend was really hot. I was sitting there with Austin, and Austin was like, I can tell he's jacked. Like, I can tell he's in really good shape. And I was like, yeah, he's really hot.
Jesus.
Will said the same thing. Will was like, it was right after he shook his hand. Will shook Caleb's hand, and he was like, man, he's hot. And I was like, yeah, I know. And Caleb was like, so that was big. But yeah, that was pretty much it.
Dude, streamers be normal for 2 seconds. I swear to God.
They cannot.
They cannot.
No. No.
Right in front of him. He's hot.
How was your weekend? What did you do? You went to book club.
I had a loaded weekend. Number one, Saturday.
You didn't respond to my texts? I'm mad at
When?
you. Like yesterday.
I was busy.
Yeah, I texted her like 5 o'clock yesterday, and she didn't respond until like 5 o'clock today. Yikes.
Well, I actually don't know what I did on Saturday. Oh my God. This is not going to interest you in the slightest because it didn't interest me before. But Yingling came over on Saturday
Love Yingling.
because Ludwig was working on some stuff and he needed him. And Yingling was like, let's watch WrestleMania. And I was like, okay. I've never been into wrestling ever. I'm still not.
I hate it.
I hate it.
I hate watching fighting. I hate watching fighting.
Well, it's all choreographed. You know that, right?
I hate it.
Yeah. WWE is like 100% choreographed. But the funniest thing, I was dying because everybody, all the fans, whenever they interview them, they're like, oh, the stories are amazing. The story, like, no one does stories like WWE because it's like a brother and a sister fight, or like an ex of the brother, or like a dad and a son, or like these two hate each other, good guy, bad guy. Like, everybody has lore and everybody has storylines. And I'm like, guys, literally watch one episode of Gossip Girl. This is like, the story is way better than
Gossip Girl.
WWE. Like, what is going on?
Wait, so WWE is choreographed, but like boxing is not, right? Like, boxing, they're actually hitting each other.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I can't watch boxing.
I will say, watching WWE with, like, through the eyes of Yingling, who's getting hyped over stuff, I did, my heart was melting a little bit. I was like, okay, I see it. It's very interesting how, like, you know, you throw a punch and the person has to know how to move exactly. Like, yes, that takes a lot of skill.
It's actually kind of wholesome. Like, they're working together. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. I think it's kind of nice. And, like, looking at the audience, it was at SoFi Stadium, so it's 75,000 people.
It's a lot of people.
Like, that's so many people. Plus, you know, people watching it online and just like looking at the audience and them being so into it, and them like,
I do love that kind of camaraderie. Yeah, I like it. I like that about sports.
Yeah,
I don't care about watching it, but I like being at sports games because I think it's cute.
I like the snacks.
Oh no, they're too expensive.
Oh, anyway, so the very first match of the night is John Cena versus like this.
I know
guy.
who that is. He follows me on Twitter.
Huge. Versus this guy that's like, his name's Austin or something, and Austin's like this guy that's wanted like a bunch of he's wanted a bunch of like titles, but he's never won, and he's trying to like make his name because he's like the newcomer, and John Cena's like, you know, the legend, blah blah. Yeah. And John Cena does this thing where he says, "You can't see me."
What is that? Why are people so mad about that right now? Because I saw that in women's basketball too. About that.
Yeah, that's a different thing. But so John Cena's known for like the "you can't see me" taunt, you know, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But so the Austin guy comes out, he does this whole thing. They play the music and song, and then John Cena comes out, and they're like, John Cena has done more Make-A-Wishes than anyone in the program ever, which is amazing. Yeah, what a great guy. And so then they bring out 12 Make-A-Wish kids on the platform for his intro, and he goes up to them and he like poses with them and he high fives them. And it's really, really sweet.
I straight up thought you were gonna say that he like threw him down. I thought that was like their wish. I thought they like wanted to like
beat the shit out of him.
No, like I want to like wrestle John Cena. I thought he would like, you know, like no, okay, sorry.
No, they just wanted to meet him. I think.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So they like shook their hands, fist bumped them, and they did like the "you can't see me" thing. And then he goes on the stage. I didn't know John Cena fights in jorts. This is an outsider.
That's
looking
crazy.
In. He's known for fighting in jorts.
Crazy.
Him and Austin start wrestling. At one point, he has Austin on the ground and he lifts his hand up, and the whole crowd lifts their hand up. And I'm like, what is happening? And then he goes like this, and the whole crowd does "you can't see me," and it was like, I was like, okay. Me too. It was like really cool. And then he lost.
Really? Wait,
John Cena
I don't understand
lost.
what is it? "You can't see me" even mean?
I don't. It's just like get some, or like.
What do you mean you can't see me?
Suck my dick.
Right, well, he's right there.
Because he's so fast. Maybe.
Oh, is that why?
I don't know. Or you just can't see him because he's like above you. I don't know.
It's not really hitting for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've been seeing that a bunch with like women's basketball. People are really mad about it right now.
You're not getting the point that it's sad that they had the guy who represents Make-A-Wish then lose quickly.
It's a good life lesson.
For the kids with cancer?
Yeah. He's still cool. He's John Cena. He's a legend.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
Win or lose. Anyway, they're mad in women's basketball because there's this girl named Caitlin who's like really, really good. And she does this every once in a while. She'll be like,
yeah.
She stole it from John Cena. Kind of weird.
Okay.
Like if you're going to do a thing, do it.
Kind of
But then, anyway, Ashley Reese, who is another really good basketball player.
Yes.
She beat her. and she went out of her way to go over her and do it, and she did it for like 15 seconds, so people are saying it's BM. Because she like just did it for so long. But then people took it even further because that's what Twitter is, and people are like making it a race thing.
Right. I saw a lot about that.
Yeah, and it's confusing. Will Neff had to explain why it's a race thing, but apparently they're saying if a white person would have done it for 15 seconds, no one would have cared. But since it's a black person, that's why people are like calling her names. I don't think it's a big deal. I think you know, you're a bad winner for like shoving it in someone's face, but sometimes you're a bad winner, and you know, it was kind of mother.
Maybe the girl that did it originally, maybe she sucks. Maybe she's
that's what
annoying.
I think. I think she's probably a brat. Like, there's probably a reason that she went to go rub it in her face. You know, you don't
could
know.
be. Who knows? We don't know these people. Let's move on. Let's talk about something else. Twitter's cringe. I still have my check mark. Do you? Oh my god.
Oh, do you want me to move on from WrestleMania?
No, unless you can continue talking about WrestleMania.
I love it. The only thing I have to say is, did you know Logan Paul is like in WrestleMania?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he like wrestled.
Yeah, he like wrestles, but he's kind of like a big deal. And it's weird because he's like painted as this bad guy. Like everybody hates him, you know, because there's bad guy, good guys. The stories for everything. But it was funny because he's in his wrestling match and he's actually like very good. Like he did moves that like people have never seen before. Like he jumped across the whole stage and blah, blah, all sorts of things. But he had this his energy drink come out. He had someone dressed in the mascot. And it's like in the background, like people cheering the whole time. And then at one point, Logan has his opponent on a table, and the Prime guy's behind him taking a selfie, and he takes his mask off, and it's KSI. And it's like crazy because KSI's in the Prime thing. And then his opponent, Logan goes up on the pillar to jump and body slam his opponent. Last second, the opponent grabs KSI, puts him on the table, and then Logan Paul body slams on KSI. It was so sick.
That's actually kind of sick. That's crazy.
So I think I like wrestling
Logan
now.
Paul do like a rug pull crypto coin scam?
Yeah, but we forgive him.
Oh.
Did you know that Wantep did one of those?
Yeah, I know.
I didn't.
I told you that.
Oh.
I told you that in the car in LA.
Yeah.
On the highway.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Anyone who bought a crypto coin from a 15-year-old, guys, I'm not victim blaming. Wantep was in the wrong for that, but that is funny.
It's kind of crazy.
Just never buy a coin from me if I ever tell you guys to. This is my PSA.
God.
Don't do it. That's when I've lost my mind if I'm telling you to buy a coin from me. That's so weird.
Yeah, that's when she really fell off. That would be bad. That would be bad.
My go-to if I start falling off would be to start selling my socks. Like if I was desperate. If I like came into a drug problem and needed money.
I don't think I would do anything crazy if I really fell off and ran out of money.
I will admit that this week I've been in a bit of a internet hellhole this past week. I think it's because I didn't let myself take a real break after Streamer Awards because I'm silly.
Dude, we've been in an internet hellhole for like 6 months.
A year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at jobs.
Audio listeners are peeing.
She's peeing. I was looking at the jobs. I spent a few hours the other day just looking at jobs.
The other day?
Yeah.
You don't have time, woman.
I know. I don't.
There's no way you could get a normal job right now.
No, I would quit this. I would quit everything.
Oh, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't, but I want to.
She wouldn't. Don't worry, everybody. That's crazy, though. What were you looking at?
Just interior design jobs.
Yeah. I've never job surfed. I have not gotten to that point yet. I have considered other options, but I have not actually gone on and like done a job search.
I think I was just daydreaming. I told Ludwig, I was just like overwhelmed today. It's like the 12th day that there's a hate thread about me for just like stuff that no one's ever gotten a hate thread for before. And it's just like, I realize social temperatures change and it's like, okay, social temperature has changed. I will adapt, moving on, but let's just keep ragging on you. It's just exhausting. And then talking about it and then people being like, oh, there she is being a victim again. It's like, okay. And then, it's just like, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
And I'm scared of even saying that I'm tired because that makes people mad too.
I get that. You know the best piece of advice that you've ever given me that you're the absolute worst at taking? It's interesting because it wasn't even advice for me. It was for someone else. But you told me that you told someone this. And I was like, that's crazy. That's like one of the smartest things or one of the smartest pieces of advice I've ever heard from QT, but she never does it.
I never remember anything I say ever. So
you said to somebody, they were replying to it on Twitter. And you were like, stop doing that because all the people on Twitter want is your attention. And if you reply to negative people, you're going to get a bunch of negative people and you're flooding your comments because they know that they can trigger you and they want you to respond to them. Mm-hmm. If you reply to nice people, they just want your attention. So they'll go play nice. You have a bunch of nice people in your comments. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're really bad at that. But you said that, and I was like, that's actually really smart. I've been randomly replying to nice people on Twitter, just like responding with like hearts or whatever. If they're like, oh, that's so cute, you know, whatever, like outfits or whatever. So I've been replying to nice people on Twitter, and I'm collecting them.
Yeah,
I have only responded to negative people on Twitter like a handful of times in my life, but every time it's a mistake.
I haven't replied in months. I think. Maybe I'm lying.
Weeks. Definitely not months.
Weeks.
Yeah.
I haven't replied to people in weeks. I'm trying not to, but it's still just like, it's still exhausting.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the same thing with chat, though. You get one guy in chat, you know, you like, everyone's saying nice things, there's one guy, and then you respond to them, and then you get a bunch of people that are like trying to get you to read what they're saying, you know? But I get one guide all the time. Not on Twitter, but in chat. Yeah, I respond to negative stuff all the time.
Well, and because of all the hate threads from other platforms and stuff like that, it's been harder to stream too, because it's like because you know, one troll comes in once an hour. It's just like, can I just move on? Like, yeah, holy moly! Like, I don't know. It's fine. It's just it's silly overall, and it's just like the internet never lets you. They just never let you move on, and it's just tired. It's just exhausting. Yeah, but that's okay.
Okay. I don't even remember what he said. Some guy. Remember when I told the chatter that I hoped his mom was dead? Do you remember that? Like bad. But it was something. It was something sexual. When like I wasn't even in frame or something. It was just something that really triggered me. I've been responding to. Okay, wait. Context. I wasn't just like, I hope your mom is dead. I said...
He said his mom was sick first, and then...
No, he did not. That is not what happened. He said something... He said something that was, like, annoying, that was like, hey, like, when OnlyFans... You know, what... Something just, like, annoying, typical. And I said... It was not typical. It was actually really disrespectful, because I got really triggered. And I was like, I hope that your mom is dead, because, I can't imagine her being alive and knowing that she made something so awful. Like, I would feel so bad for her. She's way better off being dead, which is aggressive, very aggressive. But yeah, it goes to show how deep the frustration runs. I have replied to people recently. I said I wasn't going to talk about this right before we started, because then people are going to do it more. But one thing that bothers me that people do all the time, and it's since I got bangs, is Riley Reid. Everyone's like, is that Riley Reid? You look like Riley Reid. OMG, it's Riley Reid. Riley, whatever. So, like, everywhere. Comments everywhere in my chat constantly. And what bothers me about it is, like, the fact that all these young men are coming in my stream and I'm doing very normal things, like wearing very normal clothes, and the first thing they think of is, like, oh, porn star. Like, what she looks like this porn star that I know really bothers me. Like, something about it just does not sit right with me.
Would it not bother you if she wasn't a porn star?
Yes. Like, if it was an actress?
Yeah.
Sure. If I, like, really looked like her? Sure.
Yeah.
But it bothers me that the first thing they think of is, like, oh, brunette bangs? Riley Reid. You know?
I actually don't know what Riley Reid looks like. Do you look like her?
I have brown hair and bangs. Oh, and we're both petite.
It's just like me. Every time people tell me I look like every blonde white girl literally ever. And it's, like, exhausting. I see what you're saying. So you're saying there's others that they could be saying, but instead they're saying...
I don't know. Something about it just rubs me the wrong way. And then, like, today I'm doing a cooking stream, right? I do my meal prep streams, and this chatter comes in and was like, is this OnlyFans for poor people? Because no one's paying to watch me stream. And I was like, like the fact that you think that this is like sexual in any way is just mind blowing. Like I'm not doing anything sexual. I'm not wearing anything like crazy, you know? Wearing very normal clothes.
I think that's something that a lot of people need to understand, that the two things can exist. Like, and I'm just like really doubling down on this in this moment, is like Maya's saying like it bothers her that people assume that she's a sex worker. She's not against sex work.
Here we go. Yeah.
I just want to cover that base real quick.
Yeah.
Like,
people really go off about that.
Yeah. Yeah. The two things can exist at the same time. They can exist. The thing is it just doesn't happen as much in the male sphere. You don't have someone always coming up to you and saying, hey, you should be a plumber. 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 That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Yeah. And so it's just lame that people do that when it's like, I am just a streamer. It doesn't mean that I should be this, should be that. Mm-hmm. I want to be this, you know? And, yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at Riley Reid. I think you have the same eye shape.
Interesting.
Like, if I'm really looking for it, I think you have the same eye shape and the same chin, but I think you look more like, I actually don't even know what a celebrity you look like.
I don't know either. I just,
I don't look at her and I think, oh, that looks like you. So I understand.
It just gets really old. It just gets really old. That's all.
Yeah, I hate when people say I look just like Margot Robbie.
Oh, don't do that. That's so annoying.
No, I know. It's different. If there was a person as good looking as me,
we could talk about.
We could talk about it. People want to hear us. People want to hear us whine about it.
And it's kind of it's a weird thing because it's one of those things you don't want to talk about because you don't want to bring more attention to it. But then it's not news to anyone. It's not like we're providing exposure. Truly, now it's just like rehashing.
I mean, plus if you're this far into the podcast, you like hopefully you're not someone who's hate watching. If you're a hate watcher that's made it this far,
you love us.
That's impressive. You actually kind of like.
They're obsessed with us.
It's like one of those people you hate, but you actually had a crush on the whole time.
Yeah. They have a crush on us.
You have a crush on me. Stop pretending like you don't. I get it.
All right. We're going to talk about deepfakes.
It's
actually a nice segue what we were talking about before. We haven't talked about this together ever. We should like take it from the top. Like we should talk about how that day went. Cause I don't know that we have. She's excited to talk about it.
Audio listeners, I'm making a grimace face. I'm grimacing.
I don't. Who called who? I was awake before. I found out before, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I think another thing I want to say after segueing OnlyFans and Fansly and being sexualized against your will, blah blah blah. There, again, we're talking about deepfakes here. A big thing. I just want to break this down because there's a lot of misconceptions. Deepfakes are not consensual. Both of us support consensual, safe sex work. Both of us do not support non-consensual sex work. Is that? I just want to make that very clear that those two things can exist, and that's important. I recently, it's interesting that we're talking about this because recently I've started declining any and all interviews about this. But I'm happy. I think you're right. I think we haven't had this conversation together. People do keep asking, and so I'm happy. I'm happy to dive into it here on the pod.
Yeah.
Plus, I think there's some conclusions and some work that's been done that hopefully this horrible story can have some light at the end of it. But we'll get there.
I wouldn't call it light.
Well, some progress. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just trying to.
It's like 70 steps back, a couple steps forward.
I'm just tired of people saying that I'm always complaining. I know I can't make people happy. I'm just starting to feel insecure.
Whine about it.
But I'm whining about it. If you're not here to whine, guys.
Okay, so the day that this happened, or the day that it started, interestingly enough, I opened LSF in the morning, skimmed through it, saw a headline or saw a post title that was like Atrioc leaks his porn or something like that. And I was like, oh, bummer. And then like looked through the rest of it, but I didn't click it. Like I had no idea I had anything to do with it. Nothing. A couple hours later, I'm scrolling Twitter and I saw a tweet that was like Maya, Higa, and Pokimane deepfakes, or like Atrioc leaks that he was looking at Maya, Higa, and Pokimane deepfakes. And I was like, what? I was like, wait, what? Like I had no idea until I saw that tweet with my name in it. And then I called my team and I was like, what the hell is this? And then they looked at it and they were like, oh yeah, this is what this was. And then I found out what it was. My reaction to the whole thing, shocking. Now, very different. But I called Cutie.
Who,
yeah,
up to this point, I had woken up to Ludwig leaving to the gym and Ludwig being like, Atrioc called me. Apparently he was like looking at porn of Pokimane. I don't know. And Ludwig walks out the door and I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, because he was in a rush and he was like overwhelmed with everything. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I opened my phone to like just chaos and I'm like, what is like, I didn't know who was all involved at this point and I hadn't done much research. And that's when Maya called me like 5 minutes after I woke up.
Yeah. And my reaction was insane. My initial reaction when I saw all of this was I felt bad for Atrioc. I was like, damn, everyone looks at, like, no one wants to see what your searches are. You know, I was like, that sucks that everyone saw what he's looking at. That's really embarrassing. And my first reaction was like, poor guy. And I've talked about this reaction a lot. So I called Cutie. I was like, is it crazy that this is my reaction? And Cutie was like, yes. She was like, that's insane. That's bizarre that you feel that way. So I've talked to my therapist quite a bit about that reaction. And I think where it stems from, and this is very sad, audio listeners, grab a tissue, is that I initially felt bad because I was like, oh, like everyone looks at porn. No one wants to like reveal what their porn searches are. And for me and him looking at deepfakes of me, I was like, well, yeah, of course he wants to do that. Of course he's a guy and he wants to sexualize me. Like, of course he wants to see porn of me. They all do. You know? It was like all the people that watch me online, like what I've just like become so accustomed to assuming that they all want that from me, that they're all waiting for it.
It sounded funny in the way you phrased it, where you're like,
of course he wants to see me naked.
Of course they want to see me naked.
No, but the point being, like, I have this feeling that everybody that watches me, like, they're all waiting, you know, for like an OnlyFans or a nip slip or like an upskirt or whatever. Like, I'm just like, yeah, of course that's what they all want from me. And so I just wasn't surprised. I was like, yeah, like everybody's like that. But that reaction is devastating because that's not how it should be at all. Yeah. Like, if I were to think about guys that are friends in my life, because I'm straight, right? If there's a guy, if I were to see a deep fake of him, I would be like, oh my God, take, like, not to throw Hassan into everything, because Hassan gets thrown into everything. If I saw a deep fake of Hassan, I would be like, gee, oh my God. Like, I'd be so disturbed because I don't want to see my friend like that, because I don't think about him like that, and I don't want to, you know? You're a weird example because, I don't know, we're friends, but if I saw a deep fake of you, I'd be like so disturbed and like, oh my God, what the heck? Because I don't want to think about you like that, and I don't think about you like that.
We actually saw a deep fake of you together one time. Oh my God. Christine just came to pick up something and she scared the shit out of me. You can come. She's shipping out the stuff for the Patreon.
Yay!
Sorry, I meant to text you and I forgot. Whoa, Swift.
Swift's going crazy.
It's on the doorstep. Yeah. Yeah. I put a little flower on top of it, and then I forgot to text you and tell you that I put a little flower on top of it. But yeah, it's there. Okay, thank you. Anyway, guys, if you're a tier 3 on the Patreon, this week you should be getting a recipe card for peanut butter bars, famous peanut butter bars, my recipe. Mm-hmm. A drawing of Duncan made by Maya.
I did that.
And stickers. There's stickers of both of our emotes cheersing
so
with wine.
The stickers are so cute. They're
they're really, really cute. So that's what she's shipping out. She was just coming to pick up the stuff because Maya shipped it to me. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction. That's why I was like, well, that's totally fine because everybody thinks that way about me. Which is very sad.
Initial reaction was like it was weird. My initial reaction, it came in phases, was why would I care? It's not my body. Mm-hmm. And then I saw it.
Dude, it took me a week to actually look at it, and that changed everything for me.
That changed everything. It changed everything. Oh my God. It felt the same as that pit in your stomach the moment that you've been it's just so bad. It's so weird. It's such a weird, guilty feeling, and then you're like, that's not me. And
it's a super guilty feeling, yeah.
Yeah, and then knowing that, like, my family saw it. It like, and I'm very private. If you Google Blair, it's pretty hard to find my last name. Like, but because it blew up so much, you know, it was on the front of Reddit. My cousins saw it, and then if my cousins see it, they send it to my dad, and then I have to explain to my 6-year-old dad what fake porn is and that it's not me, and hope to God that he believes me, because I don't know if he does.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Not even that. Like, I think of my dad. I think of, like, God, I think of, like, as weird as it is, I think of, like, any reputable relationship I've had ever. This is now the biggest thing that's been seen of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, any of my professional relationships that I used to have at work, any of, like, my ex-boyfriend's families, any of my dead mom's best friends.
Yeah.
Who don't understand what AI is. It's terrifying.
I would like to add on top of what you're saying right now that the thing that you said initially where you're like, it's not your body, like, who cares? A lot of people think that, and a lot of people go in the vein of like, oh, I'd be flattered if someone thought I was that hot, or like, it's not me, so who cares? I heard a lot of people say that, and I need you to humor me, not to traumatize you, but I'm assuming most of you are men that are thinking that. Humor me and imagine a video of yourself getting fucked from behind by Johnny Sins, and your eyebrows and your eyes and your mouth are all moving. Like, and sound is coming out of your mouth while this is happening. And your friends, your family, your teachers, your whoever can watch it. And I know that there's more layers there because, you know, there's lots of layers added on top of that example. But you have to think about that example. And, like, at the core of it, it is you engaging in a sexual act that you don't want to be involved in. Like, you don't want any part of that, you know? You don't want it to be recorded. You don't want people to see you like that. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Reminder,
it's not about the sex work. It's about the consent.
Yeah.
None of us are making money off of that. None of us are agreeing to that. It's just all of a sudden, and it feels crazy. It feels, I can't articulate the way it feels. And I hope no one has to experience it, but
watching it too, or seeing it for the first time, this is, audio listeners, grab more tissues. It felt very, I talked to you about this. It felt very akin to, like, when I was raped in college, I was blacked out. I woke up the next morning and didn't think that I had sex with anybody. People told me that I had sex, and I was like, that's not true. It's like, no, I didn't. There's no way. I had only had sex with one person in my life, didn't want to have sex, like, was, like, not at all interested, right? And someone told me that happened. I was like, that's not true. I went and checked the trash can, and there were used condoms in it. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I had no idea that it happened. And there was something very parallel there of, like, a sex act that I was involved in that I have no recollection of that was really bad for me, like, inside. You know, I was like, this is bad. Like, it was not a good feeling.
Like to point out that these have existed for a while.
Yeah, I've never seen them
for a long time. However, the first time I saw something like this, it was my face pasted over a moving GIF. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't the same. With advancements in AI, also learning, I mean, this was 3 years ago in my career, the first time I ever saw something like that. And, you know, like I said, it was literally like made in MS Paint, it looked like. And from then on out, as a creator, you learn, you just don't look. You try not to go on Reddit. Like, you don't search your name on Reddit. You just don't search. You just don't look. You hope it goes away. You keep your head down. At one point, I was paying a company thousands of dollars to get stuff taken down because it made me feel so violated. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, you just don't want to see it because of how bad it makes you feel. To then it very, very convincingly be thrown everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everywhere. You see it everywhere. Like, it's just crazy. And so I think it's important to know that, like, guys, Atrioc did not invent deep fake porn. Like, we know that. We know it's always been there. It was just a wildfire that was unavoidable. It was consuming, and it consumed literally every single one of the 30 women on that website. Because
the hard thing about it always being around is just that feeling, like I said before, of like, of course that's what everyone wants from me, you know? And I spend all this time like on my platform wearing socks, you know, like covering up my legs so we don't do an upskirt, like changing my shirt before stream because it's too much, holding my shirt when I bend over so that like I don't show any bra, you know, like I spend so much time doing that to avoid being sexualized. I've made no sexual content, you know, like literally just living as a human. All of that extra work and me trying to avoid those things to just find out that it's not my choice whether I'm being used for sexual gratification or not, whether people are using me for sex. Like that part was really frustrating. It was like a really frustrating revelation for me. It was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I do. Like, that's what they want from me, then they're going to find a way to get it.
One of the most defeating things I've heard in all of my career is a well-known streamer, when she started her like OnlyFans or Fansly, is she said, I made more money this month than I've made in 3 years of trying not to do sexual you know, work. And it's just defeating because I mean, I want to have as many viewers as Doug. I want to have as many viewers as Moist Critical. I want to have as many viewers as Ludwig, and they don't have that same thing looming over them because we have a majority male based audience. Even Wine About It is 77% male, which is fine. I'm not saying guys are the problem, but you know, you guys are more likely to be attracted to us. I don't think we have a massive gay audience, unfortunately. Sad. Sound off in the chat if you're gay-ish, smiley face. But you know what I'm saying? Like, especially Twitch. Like, Twitch is very homophobic. That's not a culture that cultivates a thriving gay community as well as women. It's been very sexist. So of course you're not going to have a massive amount of women on Twitch, and so you are going to have more straight cis men that want to see what you look like with your shirt off. And it's just defeating when I want to be the same as Doug. I want to be the same as Charlie. I want to be whatever, but also I'm very sex positive. I think, you know, I still want to support the girls that do choose to do that. But it's all about consent at the very end of the day. And I can't say that enough. I can have a stream like Beyblade sponsored by Fansly, and still not have a Fansly myself. Not that I will be taking a Fansly sponsorship ever again, but just saying, you can support a site without doing it. But all of this to say, I didn't think it was big. I didn't think it was that big of a deal at first because that's what my brain was until I saw it, until I talked to all the women. Because I'll tell you what, for some reason, I know this. I know why this is. I think because of how I bring people together. It's like one of my number one things on Twitch is bringing people together. When this happened, I think I got a DM from nearly every single woman on that website saying, "Cutie, what do we do? What can I do? What should I do? What are you doing? How do you feel about this? This is how I feel." And so, you know, I'm just getting swarmed with all of these messages and trying to take a grasp on all of it. And I'm mad. I'm so mad that I'm seeing my friends hurting. I'm so mad that it was someone so close to us. I'm so mad that this is like my boyfriend's best friend. Like, I'm so mad. And so I make the mistake of trying to be human and trying to show humanity, and I push go live and I cry because I think maybe this will shut everyone up who's telling all of us women that it's not a big deal. Maybe if they just see someone crying and imagine their sister or imagine their mom, maybe they'll fucking care. And that was the biggest mistake I could have ever made.
Yeah.
Never show emotion, never show you're a human. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so that's how you responded to it publicly.
Mistake.
I ended up responding to it publicly, which is a big deal for me. I try really hard to just keep my mouth shut about everything, you know. Like I just stay out of everything, even something like this where my actual name, right, because leaked, my name is my name. It's my legal name. And so it's just being dragged, you know, and then everyone's going and looking at porn. It really feels like it was out there. After I'd watched it, I was like, yeah, it just feels like tapes have been leaked and everybody's seen me having sex. Like, it really just, and it made me feel really dirty and guilty. And like, anyway, I digress. I ended up responding to it because a bunch of streamers were talking about it. A bunch of male streamers, important to note, were talking about it. And they were talking about how they wouldn't care, or how it's flattering, or how, well, like, it's not as bad as this, or what. And of course, their primarily male communities are then being like, based. You know, true. Like, that's so true. They're overreacting, blah, 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 whatever. And so the primary voice of this deepfake thing for several days after it happened was male streamers talking about how they would feel if this happened to them. And that felt wrong to me. That was wrong. And so I released a statement on Twitter where the essence was, this is how I feel about it. And the way that I felt about it was that in college, I was used for sexual gratification by a single man without my consent. And at this point, in my tweet, I wrote that I've been used by hundreds of men. But the reality is it's been thousands for sexual gratification without my consent. My face, my likeness has been forced into sexual acts for these men to use to get off without my consent. Like, I don't want to be a part of that exchange. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. But that's how I feel. And I was like, you guys have to stop listening to what these men are saying, how they would hypothetically feel if this happened to them. It didn't happen to them. It's not
also
the same.
Very different if it's a man or a female, because females, we've been taught from the day we're born that our body is our currency. The way society treats us and the way clothes are marketed to us and everything like that, our body is our currency. And so, yes, it's funny if a guy's dick is leaked, but it's not funny when women's nudes are. And that's just how society has been, and it's sad, because I wish... she's not saying that it's like chill and funny and whatever. No, I'm saying like guys are able to turn it and be like, LOL, like that's my asshole, like here's my spread asshole, and then like, you know, they can make that's funny. Like, yeah, like Ludwig was able to turn his balls being leaked into a joke. Was it violating for him? Yes. He was like very uncomfortable. He was very devastated that happened. It was like totally violating. People weren't supposed to see his balls, but he was able to turn it into a joke. There was no world that any of us would have been able to turn that into a joke. That's what I mean by that sentence. For the record, that's what I mean.
Yeah. It just felt really frustrating that men were the voice. And also, a lot of people misunderstood. Like, oh, men can go through something similar. Like, men can be a part of this conversation too. Men can talk about what they think. Yeah, men can talk about what they think about it, sure, but they're not allowed to say how we should feel about what happened. Like, we feel the way that we feel about it. It happened to us. That's valid, you know? You're just, that's the problem. You can say, like, you can be a part of the conversation. It's a conversation that everybody needs to have. But you can't be like, well, she shouldn't be upset. She shouldn't think it's that big of a deal, because it's not. That's where I had a problem with it.
Yeah.
That's why I tweeted.
After, you know, Maya tweets, everyone's tweeting, Pokemon's tweeting. Pokemon had the most tepid take in the world, and she got dragged for it, just saying, like, consent is important. Like, you know.
Stop sexualizing people against their will.
That's like, you know, and people are just so mad, and it's just like, oh my God. But anyway, I talked to multiple lawyers. I was trying to get the guy sued, but apparently there's a law, this is crazy, that protects these people. So hosting websites have a law, it's like 203 or something, that protects them from not being able to be sued because they are just the hosting website. So you could sue the person that uploads it, but, you know, that's going to take forever to find and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we contact the guy that uploads it. He decides to delete the stuff. You know, we get it deleted. It's too late. Great. He deletes it 24 hours later, but everyone has copies. Everyone's profiting off of this again. It's just too fucking late. It's, get all the girls together to initiate some like IP takedowns, to try to get some stuff taken down. And then a lot of news outlets are reaching out, and most of the women are turning down these articles because they know what happens if you do these interviews. And when you Google Maya Higa, her Alveus Animal Sanctuary does not come up if she does all these interviews about deepfake. Deepfakes do. And a lot of people knew that. That's why when you saw the interviews, it was mostly me and Sweet Anita.
Yeah, I turned down every single one.
Because we were the only ones willing
to fuck your SEO.
To fuck ourselves over even more, genuinely. Yeah. Like, and I almost didn't do it. And I'm not going to say who, but someone very important to me sent me a very like impactful message just saying like, thank you so much for doing, like, thank you so much, because I know this will lead to change and it's so important to me, but I can't talk about it anymore, but like, please and thank you. And that, I don't know, it was very, so that's why I did so many interviews. Eventually I started turning them down, because I felt like it was beating a dead horse, and I was honestly exhausted talking about it. It's traumatizing. Yeah. It's every single time I think about going live crying, I feel that same feeling in my gut where I'm just devastated over multiple things. And then I also feel all the backlash from people telling me I'm stupid and telling me, why am I making it about myself, and all those things. I just feel so much. And so I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to do that. But so that's why I've turned down interviews since, but I did as many as I could to my capacity. Mm-hmm. To try to get laws changed, because that's what's more important, is getting some laws changed. Currently, deepfake porn is illegal in California. However, the person who made this fake porn was pretty much untrackable. So then what? Where's the legality to hunt these people down and find them and hold them accountable in some way, shape, or form? I'm not saying like freaking jail, but at least, I don't know, something. Yeah. I don't know. I'm also a very forgiving person, so I don't know.
I'm not.
Like, that's why I'm like, oh, don't lock him up and put him in jail, right? But I don't know.
Yeah, no, we're
some people might feel that way.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought about this a lot today because I knew we were going to chat about it, and I wanted to be really articulate. And I think the reality is, maybe we have more talking to do off stream. I don't feel like the moment we started talking about this, I felt really scattered. Like, really? I feel like I'm not articulating well. Like, I feel like I'm not getting across what I want to. It just doesn't, I don't know. It's hard to articulate the severity and the frustration, and then I also just have like loud voices in my head right now that are like gaslighting me. You know, when I put out that tweet and people were like, is she really comparing being raped to like her face being put on someone else's body? You know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like I'm currently feeling gaslit and being like, wow, I have a lot more processing to do on this topic. And I wish that I was being more articulate. I think overall, if nothing else, the fact that I am so scattered and still like don't have my head wrapped around it and still am not even close to like processing through this completely. Hopefully goes to show, you know, the severity. But yeah, it's still, it's a ball of yarn in my brain still.
I think like the hot topic of all of this is like just showing how much it does have a genuine effect on every single woman, even ones that were on that website that do create that content. Like ST Peach has a Fansly, has an OnlyFans. However, she also felt violated by the non-consensual products that were made of her, because that is non-consensual. So it's like, it's just that's my biggest takeaway from all of this. I think a lot of people probably want to hear how like mine and Atrioc's relationship is, and I'll update this because I mean I haven't talked about it for a few months. I still don't think like we'll ever be friends again. I'd like to hope that maybe someday. I was raised Mormon. I believe in forgiving. I forgive people that I shouldn't all the time. I hope someday, you know, just because he was such a meaningful person to me, I hope someday I feel comfortable being in the same room as him. At this point, I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah, same.
But I hope, I can hope for that. I can be optimistic. He has done a lot of stuff on the back end that I think he does deserve credit for. I think other people would do none of the things he has done on the back end. He's spent about $100,000 of his own money, and he has not asked me to say this for the record. He might be upset if I said this, but I think it is kind for someone who made a mistake to try, and that's something that you don't see very often anymore. He has spent money on time trying to get this stuff taken down. I think there's been over like 5,000 takedowns that he's found a company to facilitate. And so that's been really helpful, because this wasn't my mess to clean up. This wasn't any of our messes to clean up. None of us should have been spending a minute on this, because we weren't the ones that spilled it. So that's appreciated. I don't think anyone, I think the internet is really great at condemning people, and this is my opinion. I don't know about Maya's, and so you can speak yours. And I don't think anyone,
go ahead.
I think because the way the internet condemns people and never lets people be forgiven, I don't think that's fair. I hope that he can come back. I hope he can have a career. I don't think he should lose his career over this. Do I still think what he did sucked? Yes. But I don't think he should lose a career. I think he should be able to come back and thrive. He's a very entertaining, and he's a very good person that made a bad mistake. And again, that doesn't mean I'm his friend. It doesn't mean I will make him a wedding cake again, but you know, like, but that's just, I can recognize how much he has tried, and I've seen people do less for less. So I can appreciate how much effort he's put into it. I really do appreciate it. And one last thing I have to say before we get Maya's take is, yes, I made a joke about it, and I will make jokes about it, because that's how I process trauma. That is my coping mechanism. It makes me feel in control of it. So you will hear me make fake jokes. You will hear me make dead mom jokes. You will hear me make me and Maya broke up jokes. That's how I cope with awful things that have happened to me, and it's okay. That's just how she copes. It doesn't mean that I actually think it's a joke. It's just how I feel like I'm in control of these awful feelings. And so throwing that out there for anyone who's like, you know, heard me joke about it and they've thought to themselves, Cutie doesn't actually think all of this because she's made jokes about it. That's not how I work, and you'll never understand me fully, but that gives you a little bit of a peephole into it.
Yeah. Maya's take. I agree with Cutie. I think that the internet is pretty relentless. I think cancel culture is pretty insane. I think normal people get to make mistakes and walk away from them, or move states, or make new friends and live their lives. And I think once you put your name on the internet, that's a risk that you take. And when you make a mistake, it is tied to you forever. I think it's extremely not human to operate that way, but that's just how the internet works. I don't like that, and I'm obviously empathetic for that. I am Cutie and I have talked about this as well. I am less bothered by the leak itself and like the perpetuation of fakes and like the exposure that it gave fakes. I'm less forgiving of that than I am the action itself. I do think that if you're doing stuff like that, and I do think that there's an element, this is not necessarily speaking for Atrioc, but with fakes in general, I think there's absolutely an element to getting off at something being produced against woman's consent.
Yeah.
You know, I think people get off on that. And I think that's something that really needs to be looked at deeply. I think it needs to be reflected on internally. I think anyone that enjoys fakes, knowing that it's not something that a woman wants out there, especially if it's someone that you know in person that you're supposed to be friends with, I think there's a lot that you need to look at internally about how you see women around you, and what you see them for and what you want from them. And I think that's a problem. Is that a redeemable problem? Sure. I think humans are redeemable for, like you said, much worse. And I'll also say there are a lot of creators male creators, that have made much worse mistakes and have slimed by doing much less. He did not have to do as much as he's been doing, for sure.
No, that's one thing I've even like told him is the only time Atrioc and I have talked is him updating me. And
me too. Yeah.
There have been times that I've wanted to say to him, like, you're good. Like, you know, like,
no, he really is. He really is trying and like genuinely trying to redeem. I think he genuinely feels bad for a genuinely bad mistake. I think that's meaningful.
I think you're right too about the whole like objectification thing, because I think I let that slide. And since our last conversation about this, I have thought about it more, because one of my biggest points from the beginning of all of this is that initial visceral reaction you should have. I understand morbid curiosity. I have Googled things I shouldn't have, you know, like, but again, if it is a friend that you know, someone that you've had a conversation with, if you see something you shouldn't, there is a visceral reaction that is sewed in your brain that you go, oh my God. Right. Like, think of any time where you've clicked on something, you're like, oh my God, and you exit out. And that's visceral, and that's ingrained in your heart and soul. Yeah. I've read a psychology book about it recently that explains even like design and things. You get visceral reactions looking at a teacup that's weird. You go, oh, I don't like that, but I don't know why. Visceral reactions are very normal. So the fact that there was no visceral reaction is what I think is the most like disappointing. And I agree with you on that. I think that's sad, because it's like, okay, if you don't have a visceral reaction to that, it is because you do see it's okay. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah, because yes, it was, you know, it was Pokemon and Maya porn, but you also did have to scroll past a lot to get to that page, and that was proven. And there were pictures of me you had to scroll past, and that's crazy that you were able to keep scrolling after seeing your best friend's girlfriend, you know. And so that is hard. That's a lot to wrap my head around, but I hope one day I can feel comfortable again. And I do think I've forgiven for less or for worse, or I don't know. Who knows? I don't want to. I have less anger in my heart and more just like sadness, and I think that's easier to heal. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But that's our update on a serious topic. Hopefully this was a good episode.
Hooray!
We're going to jump into our bonus ep. So if you want some more lighthearted shit, we are done. We're done with the freaking full ep. We're hopping over onto Patreon.
Episode.
2 bonus episodes a month for $5. So your $5 gets you the bonus episodes, as well as access to like what wine we're drinking, pet photo dumps, and just random other stuff.
I do good pet photo dumps.
She does way good pet photo dumps. Way better than me.
And we have mini episodes.
But that's not for $5. Those are for $15.
Sorry, that's for $15.
Awkward.
Awkward.
Anyway, so if you want to see this episode, hop on over to the Patreon. Thank you guys for watching. I also want to integrate, and I promised to do this some point in April, but we'll roll the credits and it'll show all the Patreon subscribers at the end of each episode.
Oh, cute. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about this and I keep forgetting.
Oh.
So we'll figure that out. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment about
whether or not you think I was groomed.
Was he a groomer? No, don't fill our comments with grooming in.
Groomer pedophile.
Fill our okay, we're gonna use code words. If you guys think he was a groomer, say
no, cutie, they're the same thing.
Beluga whale. If you think he was a pedophile, say polar bear. If you think it was both, penguin.
You got this far.
They got it.
Let's see it.
All right, wicked. Have a good day. Beep, beep.
Thanks for watching, guys.